There's the pass to Leitner. Puts it up. Yes!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Camera Chronicles. I am your host, Max Rego. We are joined tonight by our San Francisco Brigade. They are back from the Bay Area, Mr. Jonathan Levitan and Sasha, Richie. How we doing, guys?
Good to be here. Good to be back. Yeah.
Great to be back.
Yeah,
Exhausted.
It's great to have you guys. And we got the one and only Mr. Jake Piazza. He's back. How we doing today, Jake?
Fantastic, Max.
All right, yep. Thanks everyone for tuning in. So, we are obviously here coming to you Monday night. Duke men's basketball has made its 17th Final Four in program history. Mike Krzyzewski has made his 13th Final Four, breaking a record with John Wooden for most all-time by a head coach in the men's game. Where do we start? I mean, I have so many things to say. What a ride through the West region. We'll obviously get to what's going on this weekend in New Orleans at a specific team that they will be playing a potential Armageddon situation on hand. So obviously, like I said, the 17th Final Four in program history that ties Kentucky for third most all time. Tough, not a great tournament for Kentucky considering what they did in the first round. Their first Final Four since 2015. I know it's not really a drought for Duke. It might be a drought, which shows you how consistent this program has been over the years. Their fifth Final Four in the 2000s, and they join obviously the three other kind of blue bloods, I would say. Villanova, you could go either way. I kind of think they are based on how they've been since 2016.
Not a blue blood.
Blue blood.
Okay.
Blue blood.
There was a good tweet. There was a good tweet today by Bomani Jones who said they're kind of a novel riche blue blood, which maybe you could say that, but they're kind of like late arrival to the party. They might be replacing Indiana. Who could say?
Okay.
But yeah, so obviously since 2015 to 2018, those 4 years, only Duke, Villanova, and North Carolina were the national champs. Villanova obviously won 2 of them. And the most NCAA tourney wins, all 4 of these programs are in the top 10, along with Kansas. And Villanova has the most titles since 2016. So just a stacked Final Four, stacked tournament. Just so many storylines from this tournament. We've got St. Peter's. Shout out to them. What a run. Shaheen Holloway. Obviously North Carolina being an 8 seed and making the Final Four, that should not go unnoticed. Iowa State making the Sweet 16, Miami making the Elite 8 out of nowhere for the first time in program history. It's been a crazy tournament, and it ends up with the best storylines, I think, the 4 Blue Bloods and Coach K looking to go out on top. So you guys were obviously in San Francisco, Sasha and Jonathan. Let's get it over to you guys first. What is your takeaways just from the way those games played out against Texas Tech and Arkansas? Fire away.
I think the biggest thing from this past weekend has been their ability to adjust kind of in the face of some adversity. You saw in the first half against Texas Tech, with that no-middle defense, they struggled to kind of make something happen. But then in the second half, got something going. I wouldn't say there was ever a point where it broke open, but you could see that kind of law of averages, Duke was scoring at a higher clip, and you could tell that they'd sort of figured something out.
Yeah, Jonathan.
I think it's Paulo Banchero. I think he's
Who?
number 5 for Duke.
Okay.
Obviously, West Region's most outstanding player. Had a really not a great shooting night, but still a great night against Arkansas, and really broke the game open against Texas Tech with Duke's back against the wall. He was the guy late along with Jeremy Roach, but he looks not just like the best player in the tournament right now, but has flashes where he looks like the best player in college basketball, and it seems like he's really putting it together. And for Duke to make a run to the Final Four and to have a shot at the national championship, they need a star, and they obviously have theirs.
Yeah, some stats on Paolo in the tournament. 18.5 points, 7 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 1.3 steals, 1 block, 51% from the field, 53% from 3, which is a complete joke. If he's hitting 50% of his threes, say goodbye. He's literally unguardable, and almost 78% from the line. That's pretty good, right?
Somewhat.
Yeah, he is taken over. He has took over for key stretches. I think the coming out of the timeout against Arkansas, Duke was up 5. It was 53-48. It looked teetering. I thought Arkansas was going to make that a game, and there was a part of me that thought Arkansas was going to win that game when they went into the timeout.
Mm-hmm.
Duke came out of the timeout and went to Paolo consistently in the post, and that was exactly what they needed to do. Get the ball to your best player in a great spot, and he went to work offensively. Went right to the basket for a layup from the right block. Got a turnaround. Got fouled on a turnaround. They kept going to him. He got fouled on another turnaround. He kept going to work, and he could not be stopped. So yeah, he's clearly the best player on this team, and he showed it. And he showed to me in this tournament why he is the number 1 pick. So I know you can debate all day long about Jabari Smith and Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren, I thought, got played completely off the floor by Musselman, who had a great game plan against Gonzaga. And I think Jabari Smith is not the passer that Paolo is. So that's why I'll take Paolo number 1. Jake, anything on the Paolo side?
Nothing to add that hasn't already been said. It's not. I mean, it's pretty clear all year when you just look at the team who the most gifted player on the floor is, and he's using every single one of those gifts now. And like you said, the 3-point one, which maybe was part of the arsenal, couldn't really tell for a while in the season. Looks like it is right now, and that makes Duke really, really scary.
Yeah, I think they're just putting him. I think we can talk about this a little bit later in a sec, but I do want to say I think Coach K has coached his complete tail off in this tournament, and he's done a complete masterclass. And there were times where I've been critical of him. Like I thought in the Florida State game, he didn't give the ball to Paolo enough, and he didn't go to zone early enough. I thought in the Miami game there were times where he mismanaged the end of that, and even Ohio State not taking the timeout late. But all that being said, those are minor things. I think from a macro perspective, he did a very good job in the regular season, and he has been really, really good in the tournament, using his timeouts well. The 2-for-1 he had at the end of the half was perfect. So many coaches in college basketball just are too stubborn and not forward-thinking enough to just say, "Oh, we're just going to get the best shot." Coach K called a play to get a 2-for-1. They got the offensive rebound and went quick enough to get the second chance, and then that led to Keels hitting the 3, which, in hindsight, once Keels hit that 3, okay,
that was it.
All right, this is a wrap. We can see you in New Orleans. So, I think he's done a great job of getting Paolo in the right spots. And Paolo, I think, he's realized, I'm the best player on the court. I'm virtually unguardable when I get to my spots, and he's being aggressive. An interesting stat from Seth Greenberg, he was on ESPN today. He said that 52% of Duke's points have been in the paint in the NCAA tournament. They're shooting 70% on paint attempts in the NCAA tournament. That's crazy. And a large part of that is due to Paolo. The way he's getting to his spots, driving, taking advantage of his size. So he's done a really good job. So what else do you guys have from your week in San Francisco?
I think when you're talking about how good they've been in the paint, that's really the main story. Even with how well they shot in that second half against Texas Tech and how good their offense has been, they've catapulted to the top of Ken Pom in offense, which is sort of the potential we always knew they had. But it does all start down low, and you can't tell that story without Mark Williams, who's been incredible on both sides. He's shooting 80-something% from the field.
80.6.
Really?
Yeah.
So the thing I was most impressed with from Williams, and I think we talk a lot about Banchero and Roach in their play, but the third guy on that all-region team was Mark Williams, and he carried them for that early stretch against Arkansas when things weren't really clicking. They came out a little bit slow like they did against Texas Tech, and he went on a little 6-0 run all by himself. Arkansas answered, and then he had the steal and the slam, and he's come a long way from his freshman year. We heard some of the guys talk post-game about how tough the 2020-21 season was for them. COVID-altered season, young guys missed the tournament, and to be back here now, I don't think anybody embodies that more than Mark Williams and Jeremy Roach, those two guys in particular. But yeah, I don't want to go up too tangential with one player, but he wowed me this weekend.
He's averaging 4 blocks in the tournament, which
absurd.
Yeah, he's such a good rim protector, and again, is he the greatest post? Does he have the greatest post moves on the planet? No, but that's not the way Duke runs its offense. He's a guy that can catch. He can catch lobs. He can playing the screen and roll. Did a really good job screening for Roach this weekend. Yeah, he's averaging 14.5 points, almost 9 rebounds, 4 blocks, shooting 80% from the line. And he gets fouled a lot down low. So he's getting the job done, and he's really been, in my opinion, I think throughout the season, their 3 best players were Banchero, Williams, and Moore. I think Moore has had a quietly underrated tournament, in my opinion. He had 14 points Saturday, very in command of the offense, very patient, getting to his spots in mid-range. But their 3 best players have been Banchero, Roach, who we can talk about him because he's like completely turned into a stud in the tournament, and Williams for sure. So, yeah. Anything else, Sasha?
Yeah, I think the thing with like Williams is that he was able to make things happen when he didn't, like when Duke needed something to happen, especially in the first halves against these tough defenses, to kind of, as Duke tried to figure out what they're going to do against these defensive schemes, he's there to just provide reliable scoring inside and kind of help them keep their footing while they make some adjustments.
Yeah, I think he's just part of the screen, the 1-5 screen and roll with him and Jeremy Roach has been a huge piece for them offensively. And a couple just quick offensive things for Duke. I mean, again, like you said, number 1 in efficiency. They're shooting in the tournament 54% from the field, 39 from 3, 86 from the line. Those are all really, really good.
Is that good?
Yeah,
Is that good?
86 from the line is really good with how
Say
much.
86.
86. That's big time. And I thought again, coming out of that timeout, they went to Paolo in the paint, got him a couple touches on the block, and then they went to the curl play with Griffin, which is another staple that they have. It's this thing that they ran a lot with Cam Reddish when he was in town, and they ran that curl play for Griffin, got him a layup to make it, I believe, 61-48, I want to say, and then they tried to run it again. Arkansas adjusted, overplayed a little bit, and Moore saw the lane himself and took the mid-range. That just shows you can trust Roach and Moore with running this offense so well. And Keels, at times, he's had to run it as well.
He was really good.
Yeah, yeah. No, those 3 guards. I mean, Keels has not been the scoring threat because he's been coming off the bench, which again, really wise move by Krzyzewski to bring him in off the bench now in the tournament. But he's still, and he hit that 3. He's been very good defensively, in my opinion.
He was plus 17 on Saturday.
Plus minus again. Everyone complains about plus minus, but it definitely is. I mean, plus 17, you gotta be doing something.
That's a lot.
Gotta be doing something right. So Jake, anything? See you looking over there. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean with the free throws, you think they worked on that at practice after the Virginia Tech showing at the end of that? I mean, in the last 10 minutes, you have Keels, Banchero, and Roach missing free throws, and that really kind of prevented any sort of comeback in that game, and that's been non-existent here. And obviously to win a championship, got to do the little things, and free throws is basketball 101. And I did want to say one other thing on Mark too, the sneaky stat line that Mark has sometimes, and he had 5 assists against Cal State Fullerton.
Yeah, no, he's become a good wraparound passer to Paolo.
And he snuck in, what did he have? 4 against Syracuse in the ACC tournament. He didn't have any assists the last 3 games, so I don't know that it's enough of a thing to bank on, but
he's not Will Chamberlain.
Yeah, watch out. I mean, seriously,
very good observation.
He did lead the league. They told him, "Will, you got to become a better passer," and he's like, "Okay, I'll lead the league in assists." So there you go. There's your tidbit.
I'm not quite ready to go that far.
No, not at all.
But it's something to look out for. If Mark can be dishing it too, in addition to double-digit points and rebounds every night, I think Duke would like that against North Carolina.
We can talk about that in a bit. But yeah, I just think in your guys' eyes, what is the thing that has taken this team to the next level? Because we saw it, Jake and I were there for UNC and the ACC tournament. That's not a championship team. I'm sorry. Defensively, they were a train wreck. They were not communicating. Their help defense was in shambles. I know Coach K said that it was due to a lack of practice time, but look, I'll admit it. I was wrong. I was wrong about this team. I did not think they would get to the Final Four. I thought they would lose in the Elite Eight, and I thought that I was even being generous. And they happy to be wrong, but they've been great. They've won 4 games, and have the games been close? Yeah, but you have to win close games in March. They did not show throughout the regular season up until Virginia that they could win close games. And again, Virginia, I know they still lost to UNC and UVA. That was a big turning point, though. Levitan, you were there. Learning how to win close games, that's a skill, and they've done it in the ACC tournament twice. I know Miami and Syracuse are not world beaters, although Miami just made the Elite Eight, and Syracuse obviously missed the tournament. But you have to figure out how to win close games in March, and Duke has just done that over time, and they figured out how to win those games. So what's like the big difference for you in your guys' eyes?
Maybe
this team.
This is more nebulous of an answer than you're looking for, but I think the communication and buy-in from the team has been leagues higher than
they're all in.
They're all in, and not only that, each player I think knows their role and knows what they specifically can bring that's unique to step up in the big moments.
Yeah.
Like for example, Jeremy Roach kind of driving to the basket, a tool we've seen him break out more and more recently. He knows when it's time to do that because that's something that he's good at. It's the things like that whereas like against Virginia Tech, you saw him try and force a lot of, 3-point shots that weren't going to fall because that's not really their specialty. It's kind of buying into their team identity.
Yeah. What do you got?
You guys know I love the intangibles. Okay. But I really do. I think this team got a taste after the North Carolina game and the Virginia Tech game of what it tastes like to be the team that sends Coach K out on that note. And I don't think they like that at all. And I think going into the NCAA tournament, I think there was a big reset button. And guess what? No one is going to be talking about if they send Coach K out with ring number 6 here. Nobody's going to talk about losing North Carolina at home. No one's going to care about Virginia Tech. It's the final ring. They know that. And I mean, granted, there's a lot of little basketball things that are better. But to me, I think that is all coming from the fact that they want to wipe that memory out, and they want to be ring number 6 and be cutting those nets again and be the storybook team.
Yeah.
I also bring it back to that UNC Virginia Tech stretch, and Coach K brought it up the day. I can't remember if it was the day before the Elite Eight matchup or after the Elite Eight matchup, but just talking about that 10-day stretch where his team that was hot in February, they'd only lost 1 game to Virginia. Outside of that, they were as good as anybody in the country at that point, and they ran into those speed bumps, and they went from this super talent team full of incredible freshmen and rising talent in the upperclassmen roles to a team that didn't really know where it was or didn't seem to know where it was heading into the postseason. And it's really cool to see how they got their backs pushed up against the wall and had to respond.
Yeah.
Because a lot of teams don't have that. And what Sheffy talked about is the fact that they've sort of had those 3 or 4 years of mental development and maturation smashed into this 1 year, and it makes it all the more impressive that they really are freshman led. Their best player is Boncaro. And if you don't have those games, like Jake's saying, maybe they aren't here. Maybe they wouldn't have been ready to make this run because they've had to be the better basketball team, but they've also had to come out and be ready to win all of those times, and maybe that's why.
Yeah, I mean they got punched in the mouth twice by North Carolina and Virginia Tech, and they came out and they had a hard reset with their on the defensive end, their help defense. There was a really key steal by Wendell Moore that just shows the way he was helping. He was helping out the guy who was helping. So they're always in the right positions now. Much better defensively. Michigan State I thought they struggled at times defensively, but that's just because Gabe Brown had one of the all-time all right, I'm just gonna make everything I look at games. And I just they reset defensively. Their communication has improved significantly on that end, and they just they got to their staples offensively. Boncaro on the block, Griffin curl, Wendell getting to his mid-range spots, Roach getting downhill. Everything has been optimized, and it's resulted in the Final Four. So and they've played and they have not gotten a lucky draw in the slice. Michigan State was really well prepared for that game. Izzo coached his tail off again, as he usually does. He's a great coach, and that's a great program. Texas Tech was the best defense in the country, and Arkansas was probably the second best defense in the country. And I know
According to Kay, it was the best defense in the country.
he said that after
He
the
did
game.
say that.
He said before the game that like for the last 5-6 weeks they've probably been the best in the
Technically, yeah. Since the beginning of January, when Arkansas was like 0-3 in the SEC, they were the best defense in the country. But over the whole season, include non-conference Texas Tech. But that's a fair point. And they did a really good job on JD Note. He only had 14 points until he fouled out. Jalen Williams had some nice runs to the rim. But overall, like they kept that team in check, and Arkansas likes to shoot it, likes to play, likes to fire at will, and they did a really good job, especially on Note. So, yeah, and they just, they really, really turned it around. And I know this is not some underdog team. They're a 2 seed. They won the ACC regular season, but they had a lot to work on. They had a lot of questions to answer, and they have answered it. They have checked every box. Win close games, make your free throws late. Banchero has to play like a superstar. Roach has to be a reliable point guard. Williams has to be a reliable shot blocker. Wendell Moore has to be a leader. H.R. Griffin has to hit his threes. And do I have to is there anything else? They've done everything. What's up?
Well, I'll say, you and I were there for this too, Max. Kay said he was going to be able to fix it even before the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
You got to give credit where credit's due there. Defense is fixed. The past 4 games.
It's fixed.
So he called a shot and came through. Very, very much still coaching at the top.
I was going to say, he still proved that he still got it.
Yeah.
So I think he definitely, he's tweaked. Obviously, he's adjusted with the 2-3, which I thought again he did a really good job against Arkansas. And Texas Tech, I thought, slowed the game down, allowed Duke just make an initial run back into it and take the lead, reclaim the lead in the second half. So I think overall major props to Coach K and his staff and these guys for hitting a hard reset after Virginia Tech and going on this run, because they've really played to their potential and they look like they are the odds-on favorite. They are, I believe, plus 130. Kansas is plus 150 according to most sports books. I think that's probably right. I think maybe they should be even, because Kansas is obviously a 1 seed and they're playing really well right now. And they just obviously shellacked Miami, who was coming in really hot. But I think Duke probably deserves to be the favorite because they're the most talented team and they are playing like it. And they look really, really good. So, anything else on the Elite Eight?
Just on that favorite thing, how crazy is it how quickly they went from being an underdog to being the odds-on favorite to win the whole thing?
Well, I don't know if they were an underdog per se.
Well,
but
against Texas Tech.
Yeah.
No, okay. Against Texas Tech, in my opinion, Texas Tech deserves to be favored going into that game. Duke.
That's fair. That's fair. Texas Tech, Duke actually opened as a half-point favorite that game.
Yeah.
Very quickly became Texas Tech the favorite,
Yeah.
and
we
hear it all the talk. Everybody's picking Texas Tech in that game, and it says a lot about what Duke came out and did in that game, that they were then such big favorites against Arkansas and such a consensus pick, and now favorites win the whole thing.
All four ESPN's experts picked Texas Tech, and this is not a shot at them. Texas Tech only lost that. That was a 5-point game.
I picked Texas Tech.
Yeah, I very much thought about picking Texas Tech, and Kevin O'Banner, McCullough, Bryson Williams, they played really well. They played their butts off. That's a team that, if they had the right draw, maybe they could have made a run at the Final Four. I really think so. And Duke just outplayed them late. That wink by Paolo late in that game to the camera, that was a little indication of maybe how this team's turning it around late in games. So that's all we got from the West region. We want to talk a little bit about the maybe you've heard of it. The Final Four is going on this weekend in New Orleans. The undercard: Kansas, Villanova, 2 of the best coaches in the country.
That's the undercard.
That is the undercard. That's technically
Quite the undercard.
6:09 p.m.
No other game.
Yeah.
This is the only other game that can make that the undercard.
Kansas, obviously a 1 seed. Villanova, a 2 seed. Justin Moore, his Achilles injury, that makes me so pissed off and sad. Because he's a great player and a great guy. They're down to 5 guys. So I don't want to doubt Villanova. I don't want to doubt Jay Wright and Colin Gillespie. Kansas is 4.5-point favorites right now. I would say Kansas definitely deserves to be the favorite there. That's going to be a great matchup, though. David McCormick's going to be huge. Remy Martin has really stepped up in the tournament, someone who I was a little unsure about going in. He's embraced his 6-man role. Enough of that. To the side, hello, we have the greatest rivalry in sports. Yes, I said it. Next question. In the Final Four, Duke versus number 8 seed. Yes, they are an 8 seed. I don't care. It's still North Carolina. They're playing again in the Final Four for the first time in the NCAA tournament in Coach K's last year in New Orleans, one of the best cities in America, of course. And it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Duke's 4-point favorites. I don't care. Throw out the spread. It's going to be crazy. What do you guys got?
First,
God.
shout out to Georgia Tech head coach Josh Pastner.
He was right. Josh
He called this UNC to the Final Four run, I think in January.
Yes.
People called him a madman for it. He was right. He completely called his shot.
Hey, he also called Duke.
Props to Pastner.
Yeah.
It was Duke too.
He
Double
said,
whammy.
He said they could play for a national championship.
well, look, Josh, if you're listening, likely not listening, we love you. You're a complete lunatic, but you want to live to 120. And look, when you said that, when you said UNC, I don't even know what to say. When you said UNC was going to the Final Four, I was like, what are you talking about? This team is a complete train wreck defensively. Caleb Love shoots way too much. You don't give it to Armando Bacot enough. Brady Manick hasn't quite fit in. Wrong. They are now in the Final Four. So shout out Josh Pastner. More importantly, shout out to Hubert Davis. Got his guys to lock in. Got his guys to buy in. And he was very emotional after beating St. Peter's.
It's impossible.
Apologies for the disaster there. They wiped the floor with St. Peter's. I mean, that was a joke. That was not even a game, unfortunately, for the St. Peter's Peacocks. So, yeah. What, Sasha, anything on this, the impending apocalypse?
I've been saying this, ever since it happened, Hollywood's most creative minds could not have come up with this. They would have been laughed out of the studio if they scripted this tournament. It's just insane that these kind of storylines are presenting themselves. And I don't even want to make a prediction because
Not yet.
it's too crazy.
It's too early. Too early to make a prediction.
I have to speak with the basketball gods first.
Yeah,
Hear what they tell me.
I don't know. I got. It's gonna take a long time to get ready for this game.
Well, if you look at the objective, head-to-heads, you get one blowout win, one blowout loss. Blowout's iffy, but these weren't close games, right? And
I think the second game was closer than.
No, I know what you mean.
It was a
Yeah.
comfortable win.
it was comfortable. That's the word for
Thing
it.
is, Duke was up by 7 midway through the second half in the second one. They just completely gagged it.
Implosion. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's
It was also North Carolina played so well.
Oh,
What do you-
played great.
what can you expect from this? I think Duke hasn't played Carolina really at its best, while they're also playing their best.
Yeah.
So it's anybody's game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I am obviously you have to look at the guard play, the matchup in the backcourt. I see Jake over here. He's so happy about Caleb Love. Look, Caleb Love's a great player. I still think RJ Davis is better. And the matchup between RJ Davis, Caleb Love, and Wendell Moore, Trevor Keels, and Jeremy Roach, that'll be huge. Huliki black guards will be huge, whether that's Paolo Banchero.
They have to put on Paulo.
That would be-
Paulo's going to have a field day on
That-
Manic.
that would-
Yeah.
The thing is, in the first matchup, Hubert put Manic on Paolo for the first 5 minutes, and Paolo cooked him.
Mhm.
So
Matchup 2, though, that
Did a better
Manic played
job.
pretty good on
yeah,
Paulo.
Paolo shot
That's
11 of
fair.
26. I think Paolo was trying to force stuff and get Duke back into the game. He was kind of the only guy who brought it offensively. So, I think you probably have to put Leaky on Paolo. I don't know who you put Brady Manick on, because for as good of a shooter he is not a very good defender. I think you maybe try and hide him on AJ Griffin, but then AJ can probably blow by him. and get him off his feet with a pump fake. Armando versus Mark is going to be a great matchup. Theo John versus Caleb Love. They hate each other, apparently. Going after each other on Instagram. So
I don't think that'll be much of a physical matchup, more of a mental matchup. We're not going to see them match up
There was
against
a
each other.
little scuffle.
there was
in
a
the
little
corner,
scuffle.
and,
on that.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't think we're going to see Caleb Love guarding Theo John or vice
Not
versa.
UNC
they
should hope
they fight
so.
for a loose ball. Like if Caleb Love goes into the paint and Theo John smacks him on the arm. Yeah, I'm not predicting anything, but
Even when Theo John isn't on the court, you know,
Yeah.
he makes a habit of just
it's
standing there.
It's not going to be. It's not nearly going to be as physical as some of the bar fights in New Orleans. Let's say that between Duke and UNC fans in the lead up. If you're going down to New Orleans, please be careful. Jake and I will be down there. We will be very careful. Duke fans, if you're listening to this, if anyone's listening to this, why would you not listen to this if you're not a Duke fan? But yeah, just be very careful down there in New Orleans. So what else do we have on the impending apocalypse?
I think a lot will depend on how Duke contains Brady Manick, because I think the worst we've seen UNC in the tournament play was when he got ejected against Baylor, and then they almost lost that game. They almost choked it away. They frankly did not play well at all after he got ejected.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of tell that he's sort of like the lifeblood of how they play. So I think what they do to control him and make sure that he's not letting them up like he's done in the past.
Yeah, no, he can get going in a hurry, and I would say Armando Bacot is their most important player. I think Manick is their second most important player because the way he can stretch the floor.
Mad disagree with
God,
Manick.
I'm with
I
Jake on
know
this
what
one.
you're gonna say.
No, I mean,
Backcourt.
I'm sorry.
God.
I no debating that Armando's the best, but Caleb Love, arguably, I get we can put him behind Teddy Allen at New Mexico State, but he dropping 30 against UCLA. I believe 28 of them were in the second half.
27.
27 is that? Yeah, Caleb Love is the X factor, the second most important player. It all big time rides on him, and if it is a streaky night like it can be, or if it is a night like it was against UCLA.
Yeah, I mean, look, I had UCLA going into the Elite Eight, so that still broke my heart, that game. I mean, my bracket is already dead. Long past dead. It was dead on the first day when St. Peter's beat Kentucky. But I did want to see at least some of my Elite Eight become right. And Caleb Love just completely took over that game. It was great. He's a great player. He's a great performance. I just think Roach and Keels and Moore, if they want to even switch in the backcourt, because Duke switches a lot of the dribble handoffs, almost all of them, actually. They can give them issues, especially Keels and Moore with their length, force them into difficult shots. So I just think Manick, the way Manick can stretch the floor, can drag Paolo out of the paint because Paolo's become a much better rim protector. Something's gonna have to give because Manick completely took over the game here in Cameron, and over in the Dean Dome, AJ Griffin completely took over 27 points on 11 of 16. So someone's gonna need to. Someone's gonna have that type of performance. Someone who's not named Bacot or Banchero will have to have one of a huge performance for either of these teams to win. And maybe there's multiple because it's the Final Four and it's Duke UNC. Anything can happen. So
I think the one thing with AJ Griffin too, in that first time these two teams met this year, I think that's probably the best he's ever played in terms of off the dribble.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, anyone.
Hey, don't count out the other night against Arkansas.
That's true.
Yeah.
He was really good.
He's
off the
sneakily
dribble.
led
18
scoring that
That's-
game.
18 points.
But that game against UNC, and he struggles off the dribble sometimes. It's not he can struggle to get quality looks, but if he can be the guy like he was against Arkansas, against North Carolina, that is not just a spot up shooter. I think that is going to be your guy, not named Banchero and not named Bacot.
Yeah.
He was really good against Arkansas. And it was the kind of night
Very
where
good.
I kept on looking over at the stat sheet and seeing him hanging around because he wasn't doing it the way he normally does it from beyond the arc. He was kind of a safety valve for them on offense at times, and late in the shot clock, getting in with a couple dribbles towards the paint, like you're saying, maybe that's a good sign for him heading into North Carolina that he's doing some of the things that worked for him the first time.
Was he leading scorer too against Arkansas?
Yeah, he was.
He had 18, Paulo had 16,
He
and
passed
Wendell
him.
had 14.
Yeah, he's doing a much better job of, like, him and Paolo as well. Not just dribbling to dribble, just dribbling with a purpose, getting to their spots. Whenever, like, there were a couple times where Chris Likes was guarding him. Chris Likes is a great player. He is tiny. AJ Griffin is much bigger than him, much stronger than him,
He's got
much
a foot,
taller.
doesn't he?
Not a foot.
Oh yeah,
No,
6'6", 5'7".
I think he does. Yeah.
It's-
Chris Likes is 5'7".
Yes, he is, and looks every bit that height.
I thought he was 5'9". Yeah, so he had the height advantage. Went to work, shot right over him a couple times. Had a nice little turnaround jumper super early in the game. He's got good footwork. He can get to, he can use the dribble to create some space. So anything else with the matchups for UNC?
Another note on Griffin is kind of how much he's improved as a defender. Like, I'm not saying he's great, but he's not looking, just deer in the headlights lost like he's looked sometimes.
There was one play against Arkansas.
There-
he
that
got caught totally
Yeah.
while watching.
Yeah. I mean he's still not a good defender, but he's not.
He's closer to neutral than he was early in the year.
Yeah.
So.
Which I think has been to Duke's benefit for sure.
Oh yeah. Which again, I don't think Duke is going to be able to go zone against this team, so he is going to need to play very, very good defense.
Zone would be a catastrophe.
No.
Yeah.
Zone was very smart against Texas Tech and Arkansas. Those are not very good shooting teams. Arkansas is a very high volume shooting team. They're not a very efficient team, so that was smart.
It was the timeliness of the zone, though, to really
Right when Duke needs that
Funky.
separation.
Mm-hmm.
That separation, yeah. Anything else? I think we're getting ready to wrap, right? Now you got, what do you got?
I'm close.
Oh boy.
I just want to point out that like there's like so many things and so many matchups that are intriguing, but the places where the evolution of the teams really match up is in the guard play, and with like how like you can kind of trace Roach's evolution, if you want to call it that, even though he's been great all year, back to that win in Charlottesville in late February. And Caleb Love and RJ Davis have really been a roller coaster ride. Like Roach has been, like name the game for Roach has been consistency, and he's just kind of like raised the bar for as like it seems like he's doing things completely differently, but he's really just like elevated that. For Davis and Love, it's different. Like they are supernovas some nights, and some nights they just don't have it offensively. Like Love against UCLA was the perfect like example of that. But also Davis had 30 points against Baylor and has been like incredibly inefficient in the last few games. Yeah. So
and Love had only 5 points against Baylor.
Yeah, exactly.
Through, over 30 minutes.
Didn't he foul out? He was terrible against Baylor.
So it's they don't have the consistency from their guards that I think Duke's shown.
I think like it goes to show that like there are different ways that these teams are going to do this, but they also match up really well against each other. Like we're talking about Baycott, we're talking about Manor, we're talking about the guards, we're talking about like Leaky Black and Wendell being probably the 2 best perimeter defenders left in this tournament. It's perfect, like even just from like a meta storybook perspective, but it's also really like the perfect matchup in so many ways, and it's going to be such good basketball.
Yeah. I mean, amen to that. I mean, again, like it's gonna be a very, very fast, like likely at times a very fast-paced game. I think both teams are gonna come out ready to go. They both got a week to prepare. These programs are no strangers to the Final Four, no strangers to this stage. It's just a little different with these two guys facing off. So we got everything. I think I'm ready to go to sleep. So.
You and me both.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. You guys need to get to bed. So you guys just got back like 3 hours ago. So we obviously, Jake and I will be heading over to the great state of Louisiana for the Final Four. We're very excited to go, and we will have all of our coverage from Duke at Duke Basketball on Twitter. Excuse me. And DukeChronicle.com. Obviously, we're going to have more content coming out this week leading up to the Final Four. Check out some columns coming out, and today we just had a look back to the Christian Laettner shot, which was 30 years ago today. So how about that? Kind of a crazy week.
And he had the Corona commercial too.
that blew that blew my mind.
I watched it like 20 times.
Yeah.
Same.
Seeing him pop, it was Vince Carter, was the other guy?
No, there's another one.
No, yeah, he did a solo one. He posted it on Twitter.
Shooting the bottle cap.
Yeah, and he's like,
I
I
always
still
saw the
got
solo
it.
one. Yeah.
God.
I barely
What
recognize him with the
hell?
gray beard and the
Yeah.
Hawaiian shirt, but
God.
That's
Oh
it.
yeah, I maybe haven't seen that. I was thinking of the one where he's just with like the Vince Carter and I'm forgetting who else was from Kentucky, maybe? Unsure. I can't remember. But yeah, okay. I guess there's a commercial with just him. So yeah, make sure to tune into all of our content. Thanks everyone for tuning in, guys. Thanks for joining. Welcome to Final Four week.
Thanks, Max.
thanks for having us.